na hindi namin napapabayaan din yung aming main task, which is to confront or which is to address the insurgency problem here in Negros.
Meanwhile, the Defense Department clarifies that there is no declaration of martial law in Negros Oriental.
May hierarchy po tayo na tinatawag natin yung ating calibrated response. Tayo po, nandito po tayo sa pang-apat, sa bababa. Dahil nakita po natin na napakaganda ng ginawa ng ating Armed Forces of the Philippines at saka PNP na right after, mga 5 hours after the incident, ay nahuli po natin kagad yung tatlong mga suspect.
And despite the heightened military presence in Negros Oriental, residents are still fearing for their security and their livelihood.
Hindi namin maiwasan yung takot kasi now and then nagta-travel din kami papunta sa work. Now and then may checkpoint po yung PNP, yung AFP. So hindi ko po ano sa sarili ko kung baka biglaan po ma'am na baka yung hinahanap nila andyan. So tapos andun kami.
Fear continues to grip Negros Oriental after the brazen killing of its governor, Degamo. That's despite the move by the AFP to send in the troops to augment police forces already in the area. Since the day of the shooting on March 4, there are still several suspects at large. And then the speculations that there could be more than one powerful mastermind behind the murder. We discuss all of these tonight on The Chiefs. Welcome to the Monday edition of The Chiefs. I'm Ed Lingao. With me, of course, tonight via Zoom from the port area in Manila is Ana Marie Pamintuan, the editor-in-chief of the Philippine Star. Ami, what's your banner story tonight?
Happy Monday, ha?
Oh, happy Monday.
Siyempre, sinusundan pa rin natin yung kaso kay Governor Degamo at pinauuwi na siya ni Speaker Romualdez. Hindi na raw authorized yung leave niyan. Tagal-tagal na, nung pang Friday.
Talking about Congressman Teves.
Hindi pa, Congressman Teves, hindi pa malaman. Yung Congressman Arnolfo Teves, ha? Kasi dati rin congressman yung kapatid niya. Hindi natin malaman kung nasan siya.
Kung nasan siya.
Sinasabi.
And is he really in Asia already? And if he's already in Asia, what's taking him so long to get back? Considering that he was in the US for stem cell.
Stem cell.
So,
yung iba sabi nasa Zamboanga. Si Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla sabi is already in Asia. So hindi natin malaman diba?
Pero paano siya magsa-Zamboanga? Wala naman direct flight, international flight to Zamboanga, di ba?
Meron international airport, di ba?
Zamboanga? I know going to Sabah, but I don't know about the...
Yes. Baka ganak sa Asia.
Okay.
Ang Malaysia.
Sabagay, that's also Asia. Yeah. But also, if I remember right, over the weekend, binawi ng PNP yung earlier declaration that one of the rifles that they recovered from the residences of Congressman Teves was supposed to have been used in the killing of Governor Degamo. Binawi ng PNP ang earlier declaration na yun.
Further, further study. Kasi kapag sinabi mo yan, kailangan na nilang file ng kaso.
Yeah, pero in-announce nila bago nila... Siyempre.
Ayun na nga, paano yan, di ba?
So medyo alangan yun, ha? But
siyempre. Saka iniisip niyan, siyempre, meron na siyang 3 kasong murder cases, di ba?
From 2019.
Wala namang connection yun sa function niya sa congressman. He can be arrested and held without bail. Siguro iniisip din niya yun, di ba?
And the other topic we have for later tonight will of course be about the oil spill off Oriental Mindoro. You're looking at 6 kilometers 6 kilometers ng haba nung oil spill.
Ang sasama ng images, nakakapanghinayang. Di ba previously we were told by the UP Marine Science professor, sabi niya hindi mukhang lumihis daw yung hangin at baka hindi makarating sa Verde Island Passage. Ngayon bumalik Mamaya nandun na yun Naku, sayang yung natin. The center of marine biodiversity.
Yeah.
Daming mawawasak doon.
So that's going to be our second topic for later in the show. But we begin tonight with, of course, the issue of the killing of Governor Roel Degamo. We will talk to our first guest after the short break, so please do stay with us. Authorities believe the so-called brains behind the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo is a soldier or a former soldier. What's the basis of this theory? Let's speak tonight to Major Zenon Pancito III, the spokesman of the Joint Task Force Negros. Sir, magandang gabi and welcome to the Chiefs.
Evening,
Sir Ed, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Sir
Magandang gabi
Ed,
po.
ma'am Ami. Magandang gabi po to all the viewers of our program. Good evening po. It's nice to be in your program.
Well, Major, thank you for joining us tonight. Major, let me start off with this. Kasi you were earlier quoted as saying, so please do correct us kung hindi tama yung pagkaka-quote sa inyo, pero you were earlier quoted as saying na yung apparent brains behind the killing is a former soldier or a soldier. Were you quoted correctly? And if so, what was the basis po for that, that conclusion?
Actually, I have made a clarification on that. What we mean is the soldier that lead or the part of the team, the perpetrators last March 4 is a former soldier. That would mean the leader of the group of men who stormed the resident of Governor Degamo, not in the context of being the mastermind of everything, but the one who planned for the group who stormed the house. We have reasons to believe that he is a former soldier.
Okay. Sir, that's good. You cleared that up. So, what you're saying is hindi siya yung former soldier, hindi siya yung mastermind, pero maaaring siya yung nagplano kung paano gagawin.
Not the mastermind or not the architect of the overall operation against Governor Degamo, but he is responsible for the attack or the assassination and the murder in Pamplona last March 4.
Meaning siya yung nagplano ng execution ng operation.
Yes, at siya yung nag-lead po noong 10, noong March 4, doon sa residente, doon sa pagpatay po.
Sir, tama ba? Or are you directly referring to, for example, si Javier or si yung mga nahuli or iba pa yon?
Iba pa po. It appears on the investigation that there are others involved. Kasi doon sa CCTV footage, makikita naman talaga natin na 10 yung involved doon ng mga personalities. 6 of which are already accounted at yung 4 na lang ang ating pinaghahanap. And in the 4 belong the leader of the group na ating sinusundan for now, because for us he has the big puzzle that will solve the story or the theories that we have in the government of who really is the mastermind for the killing of Governor Degamo.
Major, marami lang nai-intrigue, This is a criminal investigation, bakit daw involved yung army? And in fact, you being a member of the army, ikaw ang spokesman ng task force. Ano daw yung involvement ng military? Bakit ganon?
Unang-una gusto ko rin linawin that we in the Army, we in the Armed Forces of the Philippines is still a support system for the Philippine National Police. Under the normal circumstances, we don't have the police powers. It is vested on our policemen, and that is why we operate together with the Philippine National Police, leading us on in all aspects in our efforts in solving the case. It just so happened that we have also employed a good number of troops from the Armed Forces of the Philippines. That is why we are more visible. We are visible now in solving the Degamo case.
Sir, balikan ko lang yung... Go ahead, Tammy.
Naiintindihan naman ng mga tao yung deployment ng military, pero nagtataka rin sila bakit daw province-wide. Medyo ang turf ng mga, yung mga tinuturo dyan, normally, dyan lang sa 3rd District lang naman and Dumaguete, and yan na nga, yung mga lugar na ni-raid ninyo. Bakit daw province-wide? At saka, well, I heard Carlito Galvez kanina, no? He was saying may mga levels of security yan. At hindi naman daw martial law. Pero can you explain to us, parang war zone na yung mga nakikita kasi naming images, mukhang war zone.
Hindi naman po. In fact, we have a chance na maglibot-libot dito sa probinsya ng Negros Oriental. And this is a welcome on the part of the Negrense for the presence of our troops in the area. And hindi rin naman po ganun yung impression na dinadala po natin, because we are trying to project here that the uniformed personnel will be here as bringers of peace in order for us to preserve the peace in Negros Island. Kami naman is, the directive is coming from the President to really get into the bottom of this and bring to justice yung mga involved. And no less than the Secretary of National Defense and our Chief of Staff was here para ibigay din talaga ang suporta ng ating Armed Forces of the Philippines. But of course, ang sa atin is gusto natin na wala tayong intensyon na militarize or somehow really bombard. We are here to be of help to the execution ng ating mga law enforcement para mas mapabilis at mapadali natin.
Sir, baka you can give us a big picture of the circumstances now prevailing doon sa Negros Oriental, especially with the deployment now of the additional troops. For example, will there be or are there new restrictions on, on anything like movements by the public or assembly or whatever? In other words, meron bang mga pagbabagong polisiya na binaba o pinataw doon sa probinsya sa pagde-deploy ng dagdag na tropa?
Sir Ed, wala pong nabago dito sa Negros Oriental. What is clear is mayroon lang pong pagdadagdag ng puwersa. It was all because we have a problem to solve. Pero in terms of are we somehow curtailing the liberty and the rights of the people? Of course not. We are doing this even para protektahan yung kanilang karapatan na makapag-ikot ng malaya at walang takot.
Major, the attack has highlighted the role of dismissed soldiers and policemen sa mga criminal activities. Ngayon, merong mga nagsasuggest na medyo i-tighten nyo daw yung pagmomonitor or at least you keep tabs on former soldiers, lalo na yung mga ganyang na dishonorably discharged, yung mga nag-awol. Ano po yung mga pwedeng gawin? Yung practical, siyempre kapag nag-awol, mahirap-hirap hanapin, Pero anong pwedeng gawin along that line? Or are you doing that already?
Actually, ma'am, our leadership now is really active into accounting those former soldiers that were separated from the service. Alam naman natin that they were able to acquire a certain degree of skills, and most of which are in war fighting. At talagang potential talaga sila na itap, especially kung nagkaroon na ng financial problem. So may mga ganun. But however, yun nga sa amin, we really have also to account these soldiers kung nasaan ba ito, i-monitor din po natin ito sila. At yung mga skills ba na na-acquire nila sa pagiging sundalo ay ginagamit pa ba nila? At mas lalo tigit kung ginagamit ba nila ito sa kawalang-hiyaan, sa kapulastugan, o sa paglabag ng mga batas natin. So, naando naman yung ating effort, and the incident would just really highlight na mayroon pala naman talagang ganon. And we should be more active also on our ranks na talagang fully accounted ang mga ito kahit pa hindi na sila konektado sa Armed Forces of the Philippines o sa aming organization.
Major, matagal niyo na bang ginagawa to, or is this an initiative that arose from the attack on Degamo?
Sa atin naman, even in fact yung mga awol na mga soldiers natin, we find efforts, pinapaskill natin yan kung sino ang mga yan at pinapanagot natin at pinapaklear natin sa aming organization ang kanilang mga pangalan. That is what is written in our rules. Dito lang siguro naging mas highlighted because of this incident na hindi lang dapat na-account kundi talagang puspusan din yung pagmo-monitor sa kanila kung nasaan ito at ano ang ginagawa nila.
Pero sir, hindi ba medyo mahirap yan, medyo masalimuot gawin yan? Kasi I mean, all countries, actually, all countries have that same problem di ba? All countries that have well-trained soldiers, eventually, they wonder, saan napupunta yung mga tropa nating umalis na pagkatapos ng kanilang serbisyo? The US also has the same problem. I wonder lang how we can be able to do that, yung monitoring, considering na medyo ipit tayo sa resources tsaka sa manpower. I mean, can you imagine, maliban sa trabaho ninyo ngayon, dagdag na trabaho yung monitoring?
Tama po yan, Sir Ed. In fact, if I may, yung mga movies natin, yung mga favorite movies natin would involve mercenaries. Pag sinabi mercenaries, sino ba ito? Yung mga international movies, these are usually being composed by former military who has also been trained, who are very much skilled in terms of the military. Iyan yun, kahit sa mga napapanood natin ng mga movies. Dito sa atin, yun nga, siguro ito yung first incident na parang mas naging malinaw na hindi pala excuse ang bansang Pilipinas. Alam namin na additional task ito, pero yun nga, in our own little way, we can account at ma-monitor natin. Kasi ang kagandahan din naman is dahil sa hindi tayo ganun kalaking organization, is halos kilala din natin kung sino itong mga kasamahan natin that were discharged also from the service. So parang individual responsibility din ito namin that in order for us to protect the organization, somehow, kahit sabihin natin dishonorably discharge ang mga yan, o kaya ang mismo ang organization ang nag-kick out sa kanila, somehow pag na-involve sila sa mga ganito, nadadamay pa rin yung organization. That's why each one of us has to guard the name of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, of our organization. At nire-report naman din natin may mga kunyari abusadong dating sundalo, at yan naman po ay binibisita din ng mga units natin. At ipaalala din sa kanila that even with the fact na wala sila sa servisyo, ay they somehow carry the name. At saka good thing naman doon sa nakaraan, even sa ngayon, pag kinakausap din ng mga former comrades nila, ay natatauhan din naman ang mga ito.
Major, what about keeping track of weaponry? Kasi yung mga na-arrestong suspect sa attack kay Degamo, mahahaba yung mga armas, mga sophisticated. Meron pa silang RPG. Ano bang process ng are you keeping track of all this, yung mga government-issued firearms?
Yes, ma'am. Kaya nga po serialized yung ating mga firearms at whenever nawawala po ito as nire-report po sa proper authority. Ano? However, for this specific case naman, ma'am, ang masasabi naman natin dito that these are not coming from the armory of the armed forces, ano? But mayroong mga support system na active din sa kanilang grupo. There are tentacles of violence na sinasabi nga ni Secretary of National Defense. Kaya yan yung utos sa amin, yung direktiba sa amin. Tatlo ang utos sa amin actually, ano. One is to get the perpetrators. Pangalawa, to dismantle the private armed groups. At hindi lang yun natatapos sa private armed groups, pati yung kanilang support system and its tentacles, ano, para once and for all ay talagang mabuwag natin yung ganito. Yung mga former soldiers naman, wala yung capability in terms of logistics. But kung may magpa-fund dyan, doon lang lumalabas yung mga ganito. And of course, the third mandate or the third directive that we are getting from our higher headquarters is to secure itong mga witnesses at saka yung mga tao who in one way or the other might have been involved into the incident.
Sir, sabi niyo po yung mga baril na nakuha dun sa mga suspects hindi galing sa armed forces. So I suppose you've been able to look at the serial numbers and cross-check with the AFP Armory kung issued nga sila, and ang findings hindi. Kasi po yung RPG, mukhang hindi naman talaga, yung RPG, ibang RPG siya dun sa ginagamit ng AFP . Mukhang itong RPG na nakita ko sa picture parang homemade na parang gawa sa Mindanao .
Tama po yun. Ano? Even dun sa mga rifles naman, makikita din natin agad na hindi naman mga arms din. At the first glance, ano, hindi talaga magkaiba. Kahit yung kahit yung short firearms, yung long firearms, at your glance talagang maybe have been bought commercially or outside the organization of the armed forces. Hindi siya government mga procurement.
Major, tinanong ko na to dati. Merong mga politiko na they are issued, halos lahat ng politiko natin actually may kanya-kanyang security escort siya. Karamihan dyan mga security forces ng government actually. How can you differentiate between yung mga ganon na legitimate security forces who are working for a particular politician and the private army? Kasi i-dismantle nyo yan . Paano yung pipiliin kung alin yung i-dismantle nyo?
Sa atin naman, anyone who is not a member of the armed forces o kaya sa uniform service, ay sila po talaga ang dapat na napupuwag. At hindi po, kung mayroon, well, of course, authorized din naman sa ating batas yung mga security agency, ano. But ang inaano natin dito, kung ganito kalakas na mga firepower, ay hindi naman to ina-allow. There are only certain limits that the law allows yung mga na pwedeng kumuha ng mga security details nila. But for us, yung mga deployment din namin ng tropa doon sa mga well-known personality, who made requests to our leadership, or even in fact to the Department of National Defense, has to pass a certain process before siya nabibigyan. At nag-threat assessment din naman tayo kung totoo ba na may threat ang buhay ng mga personalities na ito. At wala naman din pili yun. In fact, sa amin, mas gusto nga namin na kung mayroon yung isa, mayroon din dapat yung isa para dual yun. We are protecting and we are also getting information na sana walang patayan, walang gulo na mangyayari in both parties na who have been in quarrel for so long in time.
Kasi usually ang setup dyan sa mga security teams na yan, merong pulis o kaya sundalo na in control of nagre-recruit ng mga, ang tawag natin, force multipliers, mga civilian yan, nabibigyan ng armas. At pag naka-align sila sa isang security team ng politician, authorized yan . Authorized sila magdala ng mga armas, di ba? Are you reviewing the rules sa mga ganyan, force multipliers, yung ganyan mga setup?
Sa amin po, sa armed forces, we are concentrated into the internal security operations. this matter has to be looked into by the Philippine National Police. And I believe naman na mayroon din naman ganun kasi in one way or the other, we've been coordinating also kung ano ba yung threat situation, yung level of threat ng isang personality at gaano din ba kadami dapat yung kanyang security detail coming from the government.
Sir, sundutin ko lang yung yung tanong ni Ami kasi I suppose nga that's always been a conundrum eh. Yung paghihimay kung sino ang talagang pwersa ng gobyerno at sino yung pwersa ng politiko. Kasi for example, the best example I can think of is in 2009 yung Daampatuan in Maguindanao and even for 2009 ginamit nila yung mga CVO, yung mga CAFGU, yung militia force multipliers nila, they all became part of their bigger private army that reported to them directly. And I think that was also the finding ng independent commission on private armies na binuo ni Pangulong Arroyo noong 2010. Na in the end, a lot of these private armies, gobyerno mismo ang nagpopondo at nag-aarmas. So yun ang paghihimay po eh. How can we, and I suppose that's a big challenge to the AFP and the PNP, how can we determine kung itong mga force multipliers, whether CAFGU or CBO, are still legitimate force multipliers or multiplier ng pwersa ng local official?
Sa atin naman, I can also speak on behalf of our CAFGO active auxiliaries. Kasi naman, kahit sila CAFGO na naka-detail or part ng security detail, ay mayroon din namang accounting system yan. So, sa amin, mas maganda nga na mayroong presence kami at nire-request sa isang personality because somehow,
I think si Major, are you still there? Mukhang we're having technical problems with the connection.
Oo nga eh.
Okay. I think we lost the Major.
Oo nga eh. O yan na,
Is he back?
bumabalik.
Sir, are you still there?
Wala siya.
Yeah. We're having some technical problems with the Major. We'll try to get him back on the air. In the meantime, yun nga, medyo doon tayo nabit. Ay, Major's here.
yes po.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Sorry, naputol kayo.
I don't know kung saan ako naputol, but sa atin nga, sinasabi ko is, mas maganda kung mayroon tayong mga pwersa ng gobyerno sa loob din ng mga personalities na to because somehow nagiging clear din yung picture sa amin sa pag-assess ng threats kung mayroon nga ba at sa pag-a-assess din kung kailangan pa ba ng mga additional security details and this we are working hand in hand naman with the Philippine National Police at sana lang this will serve as a lesson to the government to really be serious in looking into itong mga ganitong circumstances.
Saka sakali ano kayang rules ang pwedeng i-implement para lang ma-regulate siyang ganyan, Kasi parang unlimited dyan, Nabanggit na nga ni Ed yung Ampatuan Lahat ng involved sa massacre. A lot of them were force multipliers actually.
Commanded by Pero Ami, force multipliers commanded by police and some
Police,
soldiers.
Saka, in fact, yung mga armas na nakuha nung nireid yung bahay ng mga Ampatuan Nakalagay pa Defense Department, di ba? They were crates marked with Defense Department and they were acknowledged to be talagang government issued. Ano kaya yung reasonable rules na pwedeng gawin para lang malimitahan yung ganyan per politician man lang?
Sa akin, ideally, Ma'am Ami, sa akin, even on a personal note, mas maganda nga kung wala talaga. And the firearms should only be carried by legitimate authorities of the government. Iyan dapat ang ideal. But may mga considerations And I think is something that we should really look into. Kung tingnan naman natin, may mga tao naman na binigyan talaga ng karapatan na humawak ng baril. At sana anything that will limit the use of firearms, kasi this could be a source of violence. So sana nabibigay lamang ito sa mga tamang tao.
Sir, pahabol na lang. Balikan ko lang yung mga nahuling suspects. For example, si Sargento Joven Javier, I suppose at the moment siya yung alam nating pinaka-well-trained dun sa grupong yun eh. Kasi nag-SR siya, nag-Scout Ranger siya, tapos nag-Light Reaction Regiment siya until at least 2018 or 2019. When you were talking about the brains, former Army soldier, yung possible brains behind yung implementation ng pagpatay kay Governor, were you referring to Javier or somebody higher pa? Somebody who's another person who's more in charge of the whole thing?
Another person in charge of the whole thing. But again, I cannot say that he is a former Army. But what is clear now that he has been trained in the armed forces of the Philippines. Yan lang muna po somehow not categorically an army, but has made trainings also with the armed forces.
Sir, pahabol, are you just inferring that, or is that because of something you already found out in the investigation and the interrogation of the suspects? In other words, ito ba alam na ninyo dahil nabanggit yung pangalan, identity, o dahil you just deduced it from the video?
These are born out of the information that we get upon our investigation at saka sa mga accounts ng mga tao na tumutulong na din sa atin as of now in order for us to have the right picture of the whole scenario.
Sir, huling sundot na lang. Anong rango nito? Gaano kataas ng taong ito? Dati kasi you're talking about somebody who may have been a former military person, not necessarily army soldier, pero former member of the AFP. Anong rango inabot nito?
Actually, just an ordinary soldier din, part of hindi naman ito official, I have to be categorical of this. Hindi naman siya official. Pero, still, may enough training.
Okay. Ami, meron pa?
Okay na.
Okay. Sir, maraming salamat. Major Zenon Pancito III, tagapagsalta po ng Joint Task Force Negros. Sir, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Major.
Thank you, Sir Ed, Ma'am Ami. Thank you po sa inyo and for the opportunity to talk with your program. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, sir.
Po kami sa inyo.
Thank you.
We are starting up another conversation after this breather, so keep it here in One News.
The Japanese Coast Guard has sent a team to help in the oil spill cleanup in Oriental Mindoro. Philippine Coast Guard Commander Jeronimo Tovilla told One Malita Pilipinas that their Japanese counterpart have provided important equipment and will later on make recommendations on the best apparatus that could help speed up operations.
Yung mga equipments that they have promised to provide us, no, to give assistance for us, ay dumating na po sa Port of Calapan, and these experts will recommend what type of equipment that they have that can be utilized for our operation.
Pinangangambahang umabot na ang oil spill mula Oriental Mindoro sa pamosong white sand beach ng Verde Island sa Batangas City.
Ang pinakamagandang tugon sa ganitong problema ay maprotektahan or ma-prevent na yung pagkalat ng oil slick near the point source.
The owners of the sunken MT Princess Empress have apologized for the massive oil spill.
It's been 12 days since the oil spill in Mindoro. Where are we on efforts to contain it? Let's ask Rear Commodore Geronimo Tavilla of the Philippine Coast Guard. Sir, magandang gabi and welcome to the Chiefs.
Sir, magandang gabi po.
Thank you for joining us, sir, tonight. Sir, let me start off with this po. Kasi at least yung huli ko nabasa, ang estimate ng Greenpeace, mga 1,000 barrels a day ang lumalabas at tumatagas from the sunken ship. Kung totoo po yun, that's a huge amount of oil coming out. So kahit anong gawin po ninyo, apparently, kahit anong gawin ninyong booming at tawag doon, at yung paglalagay ng dispersant, masasapawan pa rin ho kayo. I'm wondering po kung kamusta yung efforts to pump out or recover the
to
oil.
Mitigate.
Yes, sir. To get the oil in the ship like what was done in Guimaras.
Yeah, this one is of course, we're still waiting with the technical equipments that would be coming from the provider nung kinontak ng insurance. So as of now, we're just continuing our efforts with our cleanup drive with the 13 identified barangays, and majority of which are in Pola. So right now, we just continue with this mitigating efforts that we're doing, yung collaborative efforts namin together with the other agencies, until such time, of course, that those said vital equipments like that underwater remote vehicle will come. So, ganun lang po.
Pero sir,
Meron
tama.
preliminary report na meron daw kayong idea kung nasa na actually yung oil tanker pero medyo malalim, over 1,000 feet. Tama ba yun? Is that an accurate report?
That's right, no? Situations like this, even maritime accidents involving other eventualities like a grounding or search and rescue, yan yung ating number one yung last known coordinates na tinatawag po nila, no? At this time, yun yung ating alam. But of course, to identify totally where the ship right now in the bottom, yung accurate na, we have yet to, but that last known coordinates, ang ating basis din dyan na ginagawa ngayon is for the surface search. Doon natin siya na-determine. And accordingly, based on our available data, it's 400 meters yung depth ng area kung saan siya last known na position niya.
Medyo malalim na, mga 1,200 feet. Can you give us an idea kung gaano kahirap i-contain yung tumatagas na langis dyan ngayon? Kung ganyang kalalim.
Our efforts, ma'am, if I would explain, there are two ngayon na methods that we're doing, yung aming effort dito. The first one is the offshore. So that is with the use of ships, using oil spill boom, and that's the one that we use also, a ship spraying dispersants. And the other procedure or method that we're doing to combat the effects in the shoreline naman. That's why we divided our team. Yung ating Japanese experts that came in from the Japan Coast Guard also joins these teams na aming dineploy, both offshore and at shoreline po. So just to share with you po, and our team here, the joint teams, despite of course, ang tagal na namin, ma'am, nandito na we're exposed to all the pressure or elements of the working condition, we felt high morale po, especially yesterday when the Japan Coast Guard strike team, the experts from Japan joined us, because after their survey offshore at shoreline, we were commended with the method and the approach that we're doing right now. So highly commendable, and the local government unit was present. So they really appreciate the effort of our teams here. Yun nga lang po, of course, yung na-mention natin is how long, we have yet to determine that, considering nga po that we're also waiting for the availability of the rover, no? the ROV, that would be accordingly, no, from the Harbor Star, would be coming from Japan.
Mm-hmm. Sir, is there a timetable already for the ROV to arrive? I know you said kanina that you're still coordinating and getting more information, but are they talking already about some sort of a timetable for the arrival and the start of the operations?
Well, even the governor here and the rest of our team knows it, kasi sabay-sabay namin silang kinausap, no, during our incident command briefing. No, tinawag namin yung mga involved na parties dun sa side ng mga barko and the insurance. So we asked them right on kung kailan. And accordingly, yung pag-arrive dito sa Philippines, accordingly, it's 4 days. Then depending, of course, with the process, that's why this is a foreign vessel. No? It's a private company from Japan that they have hired for this activity. So there's also a process. Kaya yung ating gobyerno rin, together with the provincial government, would help to speed up yung process natin. Yung CIQS, we call it CIQS, yung Customs Immigration Quarantine process.
Mm-hmm. Sir, yung 4 or 5 days, sir, that's theoretical, di ba? I mean, that's 4 or 5 days from deployment from Japan.
Precisely.
Pero may estimate ba kung how soon they can get everything arranged so that they can leave Japan and come here?
Well, of course, we have also directives from higher headquarters to also assist in facilitating that process. Para nga po immediately when they arrive here, hindi na sila tumagal sa pier or sa anchorage area, and immediately proceed here at the area of operation. And I believe that is the main objective also of the owner with the company that they have hired, na immediately immediate yung need dito ng ROV na yan.
Commodore, ano bang yung ibang taon parang nahihirapang i-imagine kung paano linisin yung 800,000 liters of fuel eh. Sabi nung isang marine scientist, mahirap daw kapag i-disperse kasi kakalat lang. You have to scoop out everything from the water, di ba?
Yeah.
Mapping up ba yun o ano?
Yeah, there are, ma'am, if I may explain further, no, there are different methods nga po, no. Yun nandun na po yung in layman's term application nung chemical, which is a dispersant, yung paglagay ng method ng boom.
Anong gagawin ng Commodore? Mag-evaporate ba yun?
From its from the name, it is to disperse, no?
Kaya nga, kakalat lang yun, di ba?
No, ma'am, yung viscosity niya yung dudurugin natin eh.
Okay.
No? Actually, ma'am, to further continue po, meron tayong may effects din yung natural ng environment and the weather. So yung alon, nakakatulong siya sa pagbasag rin nung oil, no? Yung from its thickness to a soluble one. Then from there, yung mga makakapal, ma'am, offshore, it's being collected by the boom. Then manually ini-scoop out yan pag medyo thick. Meron siya kasi mga criteria na tinatawag, no? And we can use the skimmers. It's sort of suctioning equipment, no, with brushes na siniseparate yung water and oil to collect those oily water products from the oil spill boom. And the other one, pag medyo depends on the viscosity or yung kapal niya, the thickness. Kung ako po mag-explain ng mas mauunawaan ng lahat, yung kapal niya depende po doon. Doon ka gagamit ng dispersant or yung pagmakapal at kaya naman siyang manually scoop out, you scoop out and collect it and put it in a container.
You're not considering burning any of the fuel?
Based on the experiences of our Marine Environmental Protection Units and even the Japan Coast Guard, no? Of course, hindi mo yan maano dun kagad. Ang ginagawa lang talaga, this is the normal procedure. Kaya nga po, again, I have said, no? We were commended by the Japanese experts by doing the right thing. This is the same method that they're doing in Japan daw po.
So pwede ba siyang harangin? Kasi ngayon, nag-aalala mga tao. Papalapit na daw sa Verde Island Passage. Kaya bang harangin yon para hindi makarating doon?
Of course, ang gagawin po natin dyan is it's like a fortress natin. No? Yung isipin na lang natin yung castle natin. We're trying to defend it by using walls. So yung alam natin like the marine protected areas, ngayon pa lang, with the pronouncement of some agencies regarding the sudden shift of yung drift niya, no, the drift pattern and the trajectory model, na-alarm na tayo kagad. We have a heads up. So the nearby provinces would be prepared for that. Ngayon naman, it's being broadcast na that is the possible na mangyari. So with what happened, every day is a learning experience, and I think all of us do not want this to happen. So we're trying to mitigate it. We have given also advice and constant communication with the nearby province of Batangas regarding their preparation in case that it really will go to their AOR.
Pero sir, seeing how the tides flow and the currents flow in the last few days, mukhang saan po papunta? Kasi earlier kasi sasabi nila mukhang papuntang south pero mukhang nagbabago But given your experience with the sea and yung patterns ngayon na nakikita ninyo, mukhang saan patungo?
Sa ngayon po kasi ganun pa rin siya, the same, kasi it's still amihan, no? And tandaan po natin, no, yung high tide and low tide, may effect yan. Then at night, of course, wala naman dun sa area to do the operation. So yung nalileft out, pagka may gap tayo, kasi ang working hours natin, we jump up at around 06:30 in the morning, then we terminate around 10 para hindi naman sobra na yung ng working party natin sa area. So after that monitoring, pag medyo yung weather condition iba na naman, we continue. So ganun po yung process dito po sa area. And tuloy-tuloy lang namin to as long as it is needed. But again, i-share ko lang po, no, when we were conducting monitoring the past few days, maganda naman yung ating recovery. We were able to recover approximately 4,903 liters already of oily water mixtures, and 44 sacks or drums of contaminated materials offshore. Then sa shoreline effort naman natin, ma'am, no, we were able to collect 931 sacks, and
wala.
Sir, can you hear us?
Nag-lock.
there's in the area that every day nalilinis, but in the morning medyo may pupunta na naman na konti. Ganun po, it varies depending on the weather and the effects of the tide.
Commodore, you mentioned a wall, no, para hindi lumapit sa Verde Island. Tama ba yung dinig ko? And what kind of wall is
Opo.
that? Ano yung pwedeng gawin?
These are the protective booms that we're using. So meron tayong booms that can be used in the high seas. Meron din po tayong booms that we use on nearby shore para ma-protect yung our protected areas, the sanctuaries. So considering that Verde Island is really, home for a lot of these underwater resources na yan. So ngayon pa lang, I think everyone is on the move of mobilizing itong effort na ganyan habang wala pa sa kanila. And we're glad that everyone is really taking action.
So we have enough equipment for that sa mga boom na yan, pipigil ng langis?
Opo, in fact, no, even the private companies around Batangas, they have a lot of petroleum companies there. No? They also have spill booms that they're ready to dispose on a notice, short notice. And if I may add po, no, there are indigenous materials being used right now, like the coconut husk has been turned into a boom. So though you cannot use that there, the high seas, or I mean in the further offshore, it can be used in these marine protected areas. Then lightweight pa po siya, so, and made out of indigenous materials. Kaya actually, na-surprise yung mga foreign people that are visiting here, especially the experts na we're making real use of indigenous materials just to mitigate the effects of this matter.
Sir, I don't know if this is too early to ask, but let me ask it anyway. Yung owner ng barko po, are there going to be repercussions and sanctions because of what happened? Of course, maliban dun sa insurance, kasi that's insurance eh. But you know, as far as licenses and permits are concerned, as far as the registry is concerned, what are the repercussions of this incident?
Yeah, just to inform everyone, right now ang focus ng ating team, no, is for the cleanup operation po. No? That's our main focus kasi ito yung may mas malaking effect right now. Eh. The fact-finding effort in determining that would, I think, follow later on with a specific unit that will handle it legally and the other investigating factors that will to produce substantial information talaga for their investigation, or you know, in basic terms, it's called the marine casualty investigation.
Commodore, this is not the first time na nagkaroon tayo ng massive oil spill, ano? Would you know kung ang record natin dito sa bansa for holding private persons or companies accountable for disasters like this?
The right one too, I think the one who should discuss that, it's the legal office of the Coast Guard, no? But of course, pinopursue natin yan eh, no? Pinopursue naman ng ating authorities yan, especially if the magnitude or the effect is really, you know, catastrophic or detrimental to the lives of people. I think both the local government and us, yung Coast Guard, would really push through for finding out the truth behind. Lahat naman tayo, no? But again, I encourage everyone all of us should focus muna for the meantime with the clean up. That would follow. Kasi ito yung priority natin ngayon eh. Maibisan natin yung hirap ng mga tao sa paligid po.
Okay. Maraming salamat, Commodore Geronimo Tuvilla of the Philippine Coast Guard. Sir, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you very much as well, sir. Yeah,
Ingat
good
po.
evening, ma'am.
And that's the Monday edition of the Chiefs. We hope that to discuss here. We'll keep the conversation going. I'm Ed Lingao.
I'm Mami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.